Susie, you're good over there? Okay, well, let me get this microphone. Okay, at this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, February 22nd, 2021, and ask if we'd all please join us in a salute to, please rise, join us in a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd ask the town clerk to please read the public hearing notice.
The legal notice for the public hearing, unsafe structure at 7395 Modoc Road, scheduled for the 22nd day of February 2021 at 7 p.m., was published in the Daily Messenger newspaper on February 11th, 2021, and a copy is available in the town clerk's office.
Thank you, Karen. So at this time, I'll ask if there's any members of the public that care to speak regarding 7395 Modoc Road. Again, I ask if there's anyone that care to speak for or against the unsafe structure at 7395 Modoc Road. Okay, you sign in and the mic is yours, sir. Right here. It should be on.
Not even this far away. Huh? Which one? Okay. All right, go ahead. Oh, the reason. Alan here? Oh, he's not here. But,
No, Mr. Benedict's not with us.
All right. Well,
But for the
I had a
record,
conflict with RG&E.
yeah, your name and your address,
Stuart
please.
Peterson, 7144 Dryer Road, for 7395 Modoc. I've had dispute with RG&E. It's where the issue, because I talked to him, and I really want to get rid of the house, of course. But there's two different engineers. One says I have to have the electric hooked up on the, let's see, what would that be? That'd be the west side of the property, which is where they put the new pole. And then I talked to another engineer, because they changed all the electric over there. They put a new pole on the east side of the property, front. And I had everything going on there. And I talked to the neighbor, which is Zykowski. And I had my lawyer drop a piece of paper saying, because it's weird that they didn't put it on the property. Usually they always put the utility poles on the property line. But they didn't do it this time. It's like 5 or 6 feet encroachment. I don't know exactly what it is. Doesn't matter. It's on his property. So I had my attorney say, "Can we use? We're gonna dig it up so we can underground it, and then of course we'll repair everything the best we can. It's no big deal. It's just electric line." And he comes out, and I talked to him personally. I said, "Well, can we do this?" He says, "Okay." And I showed him the letter, and I just wanted him to sign it, saying it's okay. And then the weekend went by, and I think it was Monday we had something going on with the weather. It was Tuesday, I went and talked to him. I went up to him, and he finally, I could tell when I went to the door, he seemed irritated, and I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" He says, "Did you even call?" He thought I was doing this behind his back and behind everybody, even RG&E and everything. I'm like, "No." I go, "This engineer told me this." I go, "The circumstances changed. We're not building a house here now. And that's 250 feet of line, where if I go over here, it's only 95 feet. So, meanwhile, the whole thing going down, he got irritated. He goes, "I'm not signing nothing," and this and that. And because he talked to the original engineer, and he thought I was going behind his back. He goes, "Did you even talk to RG&E? Are you doing this illegally?" And I'm like, first of all, you can't get a power illegally. Why would I do that? But that's where that kind of did a standstill. And then That's about all it's done. And the only reason why I kept the house so far is because I need the power there. And I really don't want to put the power over here and then run it all the way up. And then if I really do want to put addition, I haven't decided if I can put addition on the house or I want to actually put a house there. But it's leaning towards the addition. So I talked to him because I have the structure there. I just have to add on to it to make it in the boundaries of the square footage of the specs of the town. So, because they don't want any trailer parks. So I go, well, this isn't a trailer park. This is going way back, boy, I guess 10 years ago at least. And then I had, that was before the sewer was there. And then I had the perk test done, and I had drawings of all the new septic system. And then all of a sudden, what's the developer's name over there now? I can't think of his name. Does a lot of Italian guy that does a lot of stuff in this town. You guys know him?
Yeah, I mean Woodstone, that's next
No,
year?
no, before that.
E. Felice?
Be Felice, thank you, yes. And she came to my house, and we had dinner and everything, and I'm like, he says, don't worry about it. He goes, we're going to put the sewer and everything in there. He goes, I'll hook up for you for free. So, okay. I guess 2 years went by, or whatever it was. I didn't write everything down, but all of a sudden, Jeff Smith decides to buy the property. And everything came around there. And he came up and approached me. He says, well, would you like to sell the property? I said, well, what would you want to pay for it? He said, $40,000. I go, you out of your mind? That's not going to happen. That was the end of that conversation. Nothing bad, you know. And then basically that's what it's been. And then the new developer, which is Affronte, which I do a lot of work for, is, well, I used to. They separated now, so it's Andrew Affronte and I think it's Frank. This is his brother. Yeah. And I went over there 2000, well, whenever they did development, I think it was 19, was when they started putting all that in. And I went to the zoning board here, building department and everything, says, well, you got to talk to him. So I went and I got a sewer ladder already hooked up, ready to go. Or I was going to put a house behind the property. So now I'm kind of in limbo. And like I said, the only reason why I want that house there and I want it gone, personally, is because of the power. I've been fighting RG&E. God, it's got to be over 8 years now over this thing. So I'm going to have to make a decision here. You know, if you want, I put locks on the door. Kids can't get in that way. They can get in through maybe a window if they want to jump in, or a ladder or something. You know, anyone wants to be creative, they're going to get into the place, of course, no matter what you do. But for the meantime, if you guys want me to like board a window up, there's only one window on the first floor that you can get through. You know, that's wide open. But I can board that up at least. I'm putting no trespassing signs in it, which I probably should have done anyways when I think about it. But we don't live, you know, there's no kids around there. So I don't know, now that we're starting to get a developing community around the zone, I really haven't seen any children around there either, which is kind of odd, but maybe, I'm sure there is. Of course, this whole COVID thing is done. They won't go outside anymore, you know. And what else?
The power's overhead right now?
Power's overhead, goes from,
I see it on the front of the house.
Yeah.
My question is, why couldn't you run it overhead to the barn?
I don't know, can I do that? I think it's too far, maybe. I have to put an intermittent pole maybe over there. And I only want, again, it was supposed to be temporary. Of course, time goes by, you know how that goes. And that's a long ways. I don't think they can go that far without. Yeah, I guess I have to talk to, see, the point is, I know what you're saying, but the engineer, he goes, I put the pole there, you're going to use it. I said, well, the circumstances have changed. I'm not putting the house in the front yard anymore. He goes, well, I don't care about that. And this, I can't think of the guy's name now, it's Mike.
This is an engineer that you're working with?
Well, for RG&E. It has been for, that was, whenever they put that pole in, which is probably, I believe is around 12 or 12 or 11. They put the pole in there, right? So, meanwhile, 8 years gone by, I call up your engineer, and I talk to another engineer, he says, yeah, we moved because they put the new power there, there's a new pole on the, again, it's the east side of the property, which would be the northeast side of the property, which is where the new pole is. So, well, this makes it easier. I only gotta go 95 feet. You know, I don't exactly, because they might have to curve it and stuff, but you get the point, though. So much closer, not to mention tell the way of potential water line I gotta bring up there, you know, and gas line, because everything's out the road. So you have that, it's either gotta come to the driveway, because the water line stops right there, basically at the driveway. You see the fire hydrant there. So that comes up, I really didn't want to come across there. But, he's really steadfast on doing that, so I'm kind of paralyzed that way. So we have to kind of come up with a solution here.
You got power in the barn right now?
I'm just running external extension cords out there, underground. No, I have power there.
I mean, you have power through extension cords, you don't have.
No, it's not, no, it's not hard drive, it's not, yeah. It's buried in a tube. It's like a conduit tube. But it's buried with external extension cords. Just so I can use the garage door openers, and every once in a while I can, you know, cut stuff, you know, because I'm a contractor, but that's really the only reason why that thing's still existing. It just kind of perturbed me, to be honest with you, because I really wanted to get it down. I talked to Al, and then, of course, I just keep fighting with RG&E, and I don't think you guys are going to have any influence on them, because they're RG&E, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, just looking at the situation, my comments on that in terms of the situation, you could rectify that in terms of, you've got an existing meter that you're paying for with RG&E.
Yeah.
That meter could be put on a 2 6x6 post.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that too, doing a temporary service.
You got your power coming there as an overhead. It could be on a pole, it could be there. You can still have your service, or you got it set up.
You think I can run it from the overhead and just like run it closer to
I'm just saying, I
the
think
two-car
that's
garage?
separate from the issue of the structure.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as our concern, as far as what Al Benedict and the code.
Right,
and the town,
right.
I think that it's talking about really two separate issues, I think.
Yeah,
And I get what you're saying. I mean, I understand what you're saying in terms of, yeah, I mean, that house is sitting there because you got your electric and you got your service and your extension cords out there. But you could certainly set up a couple of 6x6s. I mean, obviously pretty handy guy. You can set up some 6x6s.
Yeah, I have an electrician that works with me too, so.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Can I do that? It have to be high enough so obviously the vehicles can pass overhead legally, correct? Because it's got to come from that overhead connection, unless I use the far one.
I'm saying you're going to get a pole, you're going to put in a pole and have it high enough so you get your vehicles underneath it.
No, I'm saying, yeah, but if you're looking down the driveway like this, right, and the barn's here, well, we should reverse it this way. The power's coming from the house. How am I going to run it to the barn?
You're going to go up a pole. You're going to take it out.
You think RG&E would let me set my own pole there and do that?
Can I ask,
Huh?
and why is it you don't want to bury a line?
Well, no, because it's the far end of it. It's 250 feet. It goes,
I can see it, I got a picture of it
yeah,
up here, and the
yeah,
pole
yeah, the
that you're
property's here,
drawn
the
from
house
is up
is
here.
here, barn's here. The pole they want me to use is way the heck over here. Well, I got to go on a whatever angle that is, and I got to be 5 feet away from the
If you
corner of
went,
the
they're
building.
telling you that if you buried a line, you would no longer use the northwest pole, you would come from the side pole.
Well, I wanted to use the closer pole because I can wrap it around. I don't have to worry about any excavation anytime. I can connect up the single unit and the double unit, and then I can run it closer. It's just easier and cheaper to do it that way than just run it all the way across this whole line. Because if I'm going to put an addition on that, the units that's there, obviously I'm going to have to do it twice. So I'm going to have to hook it up or I can put it on a pole, and I gotta run it across, then I have to do it again, so. Which is, I don't know how, maybe $1,000 probably to do that, but,
Well, the other side of it too is that there's a lot of farms that the power goes to the barn and then comes back to the house. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you run your line, you run your electric straight to the barn.
oh, yeah, I know that, yeah,
Bring your power, when you decide what you're gonna do after you take that structure down, you can decide.
that's what I'm saying, I was just trying to avoid to do it twice, that's all. And, I mean, if it's getting to that point where it's amazing, because that house is, I think it's 1878, and it's balloon frame, so that means the studs go all the way from the first floor all the way to the roof, so, but it's amazing how they built it back there. I can't believe the thing is,
Supposed to be, right?
oh yeah, it's still, I can walk on the thing, you know, I'm 255 pounds, I'm walking that thing, it's still pretty solid, it's amazing. It's pretty impressive, but it does need attention. I agree with you on that one. I guess I have to make some calls to the electrician, because I wanted to come here first and see, obviously get your thoughts and a direction I need to go here, which I really
So-
want to get resolved, obviously.
Yeah, and you're talking about your challenges for electric for the barn. The intent here of the public hearing is, what's the status of the house itself?
Oh, it's,
You said, I think earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong, the house you want gone, is that it?
yeah.
So,
I went to the, obviously the planning board and everything at the time, and I also went to, what's a historical site to make sure that wasn't, yeah.
yep,
And everything was agreed, and everything was great. And then I ran the snag with RG, and it's got to be for 8 years now I've been dealing with these guys. So now I have to make a decision, because now you're finally getting me to this point, which is kind of a good thing. I just want, I'm trying to do it so we don't have to waste it, because after 250 feet, you have to, you know, put a transformer in, so they're trying to tell me, and I'm right on that borderline. Because originally the house was going to be right in the front yard right there, where the big maple tree is right there. That's where it was going to be. But this is 2009. Of course, this is when my father was alive, and we're going to move over there, and then, of course, circumstances happened, and then, of course, that didn't happen. And of course, he passed away in 2012.
so what is your intention here with the house? You want to get rid of the house? You're going,
Oh, I'd like to
you're
get
going
rid
to
of
knock
yeah.
it down, or?
Yeah, I'd like to dispose of it, and I'm hoping that, because I got to do the demo permit, I can bring, there's a lot of metal, anything that's metal, I can, all the guys that work with me, they'll just take it for free and get rid of it. I like to use the dump recycling center as get rid of, there ain't gonna be, there really isn't anything left in the thing. There's no insulation, there's no drywall. You guys pictures of that or no? Did he go inside or no?
Exterior photos
Just
only is, I
exterior
think,
only.
what the board was provided.
But there's nothing, it's all, the only thing that's left is the timber frame. That's it. Electric's gone, plumbing's gone. 'Cause that's when I started to get rid of it. And, of course, the guys that work with me say, hey, I'll do that for nothing. I'll just take it away. I go ahead, knock yourself out. So,
Yeah, so the elephant in the room, the question is, what is the timing? Because this order really states that you either need to repair it within 30, if not, I think, 60-day period.
yeah, 30 days from commencement. I think it said 60 after that, so it's 90 days basically from now or whatever it is, you know, close enough. So basically, was that March, May 1st? June 1st, is that it is?
Could possibly be, sure.
June 1st, let's say. The only reason why I cut the vines there is because it kind of made the ugliness, if you will. A lot of neighbors said, gee, I'm glad you left those vines there. I'm like, okay. You know, because it kind of hides it. You know, well, it is dilapidated. It needs, of course, attention. But I guess I'm going to have to figure out, I might have to sacrifice some power and get rid of it. And then I'll have to move forward by proceeding. Now that everything's kind of stable, of course, COVID thing messed everything up too. But we can maybe go from there. If you give me to like July 1st, And I really want to get, and if I can, do I have to talk to you people about the disposal of the product, or I have to go to
I think you would have to check with
check with them?
code enforcement, because I think you have to,
I know they said something.
application and demolition permit.
Yeah, that's good.
Actually, yep, you'll have that, and then they can guide you as well.
Let's see, before, remember how they, at the dump, you could take everything? But then they changed, was that 2 years ago or something?
A few years ago.
Yeah. And they said, yeah, take everything down, no problem. Just give us a day or two warning to make sure we have our backhoe.
That's not the case anymore, though.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, you can't do that.
You can't take that to yourself.
You're gonna need a dumpster.
Yeah, you'll need a dumpster, you'll need somebody. I don't know if you've reached out to the fire departments, Victor or Farming, or Fisher?
Yeah,
No, I talked, they don't, the structure, the other structure's too close.
Too close, that's what
Yeah.
I figured.
Yeah,
That's
it's-
what I figured.
Oh, yeah, I
too
do.
close, and I left documents with all the board members. The DEC has changed. We were very fortunate that the Brace Road parcel,
When it did,
yeah, because controlled burns, my understanding, I think those exercises for fire departments are going away. And it was actually Chief Chapman that informed me of that today, so.
It's like I think it was 500 feet before,
So,
wasn't it?
Councilman Condon and Kohovic's point, you're gonna have to go through the expense of getting some dumpsters there, get a quote from someone to knock it down. Because if we end up setting a timeline here, you don't meet the timeline, the towns, we're gonna order that to happen, and then you're gonna be taxed, billed on it, whatever.
Yeah, well, I
Just
can,
the-
I have lots of people, I got, like I said, I know they're front, I can get that thing, it'll be gone in one day.
Yeah. So let's stop playing Monty Hall and make a deal. I don't like the July 1 date, okay? We gotta come sooner here,
I gotta
okay?
remember, I got lots of snow out there, I don't wanna feel like dealing with all that
It'll be,
nonsense.
it'll be gone in the next few days. A lot of it's gonna
2
leave.
days, okay.
48 on Wednesday.
Well, let's see what March storms are, but anyways, 90 days from March 1st is, April, May, June, right?
June 1st? So June 1st, I'm not gonna see that house anymore?
Well,
The
let's
board's
hope-
not gonna see that house anymore?
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
June 1st, we would not see that house, is that,
Well, I guess it's gonna have to be, and I'm gonna have to live without power then, if that's the case.
Is it a hardship to run because you gotta, if you're running an extension cord, and you're just gonna run the power, whether it be by pole or by ditch, because you're gonna just have to move the meter to the barn, right?
I don't know, it's not up to me, you keep forgetting about that. If it was up to me, it would have been done a long time ago. I'm dealing with two different engineers, and their conflict of interest is like, really? You guys can't get together on the same page? You guys are killing me here. It's no big deal for me to run it to the barn, what do I care?
I think the other thing you want to be thinking about is that you've got 3 months to get rid of the structure, you take that down, and then reassess. I mean, maybe in the interim, you use a generator for what little
No,
electricity
yeah, I was thinking about that
the
too.
little electricity you need out there, you know, like you said, for doors and lights once in a while. You run a generator, we need some juice out there for now.
Yeah, I thought about that.
Decide what you're gonna do with the property down the road. Maybe some guy, maybe you clear that off, and some guy comes along and gives you a good buck for it, and then maybe you can sell it.
Yeah, the nice thing is I keep all my stuff over there.
I
and
know, but
That's
I'm saying that gives you options. If you give
Yeah, I
them
know what you're
options,
saying, yeah, I know what you're
And
saying.
that gives you options, and you run off the generator until you decide what you're gonna do with the electric.
Yeah, if that's the end of the world, yeah, you're right. If we gotta go to that extreme, but, I probably should go down and told Al, I said, of course I say, why don't you go RG? No, I'm not gonna call RG, I can't do that. Go.
I think the,
I'm trying to get maybe some push behind, some power behind it to make these guys come up with a different solution because now obviously the situation has changed with the house. And I can't get through the one guy's head. He's just steadfast, no, you're gonna use that pole. I go, why? You changed everything. I go, you moved it over here. This is so easy to run it. I go, I'll do everything. All you gotta do is come and say, yep, it's inspected, done.
I think the point is that right now, you're in control of what that's gonna cost you to get
Right.
rid of.
Yeah, I understand what you're
You can
saying.
negotiate, you said you got
If
some
you guys
connections.
do it, obviously you're gonna send me a
If
bill.
we do it, it becomes prevailing wage and all of
I
that
know
other
how it
stuff,
works.
so.
Yeah, I've been doing this stuff for 40
Exactly,
years.
exactly.
so it sounds like we're on the same page then.
I guess we're gonna have to be.
Yeah, you could tell RG&E, you know, that town board beat me up pretty good here.
Yeah,
last
well,
night.
they don't,
gave
they
you-
don't give a crap about this.
In the kindness of their heart, they gave you 90 days instead of 30. So for the reflection of the planning board, our public hearing minutes,
Aye.
June 1st, 2021, we are no longer going to see this house.
There isn't 2041?
June 1st, I can start coming back.
Okay. All right, well, I guess we're gonna have to,
Board members, are we,
Yeah.
it's not 30 days, you're fine?
I'm good
Okay.
with that.
Okay.
I understand everything that's going on, so it's a really frustrating when you gotta fight RG&E over something so, well, it seems to me, minimal, if you will. Because they deal with high power and everything like that. I go, can't you just run it right there? It's so easy. I go, you just put a brand new pole up there too.
I will have
One
a,
engineer says, we're gonna do it, and that's when I went over to the neighbor and said, well, I gotta dig in, that's what, no surprised me, that wasn't on the property line. You usually always put them on the property lines, that way there's no dispute, you got 10 feet of easement or whatever it is. And, no, and he called up RG on Tuesday, I believe it was, and he says, and he almost insulted me, saying, like I was going behind everyone's back. I'm like, really? And he was really upset, and I don't know what the term is to use on the thing, but I was really surprised that he talked to me like that I've been in business for over 40 years, and I'm trying to get this thing resolved, and he acted like I was just some hoodlum trying to undermine his everything. I'm like, really?
I will follow up with Mr. Benedict in hopes that maybe he has some information regarding a contact at RG&E that could at least, maybe the town could intervene a bit with at least a conversation with RG&E on your behalf, okay?
Yeah, like I said, there's two of them, and the one guy's name is Mike, and that's the guy, he was the original engineer.
Yeah.
And then the newer guy, which I never did, he never gave me a letter saying like that, but I did talk to him. He says, yeah, we can go forward on this whole thing. He goes, just get this letter written up by your attorney saying that we can use your property to dig it up. And of course, it doesn't leave much. It's only a 3-foot trench. And then that's when I went back to him and I said, well, we're ready to go. He's like, no, it's not going to happen. I'm like, really? I just thought I had it solved. Ready to go? No, denied. So,
Okay, well, thank you. We appreciate your presence here this evening, and, okay?
appreciate you guys hearing me out and, seeing the situation here. It's not me, it's going for RG&E. If I need to sacrifice the power for a while, then I'm gonna have to do that.
Okay.
I mean, it is safe to take it down, and when I want to do it. There was the roof done at 100-mile-an-hour winds came through there 2 years ago, blew a couple sheets off. That's when I climbed up there and I screwed them, spiked them down to make sure that wasn't going to happen again. But I guess somebody made a comment that was the utility pole caught the sheet or something like that. Because, it's a steel roof, so they're coming sheets. So I blew it off, and it got caught into the utility pole. I'm like, I came over that day and go, what the heck? And I said, of course, I ripped it right off. So that's when I climbed up there and went a little ballistic on, I went a little overkill on it. So, putting 3.5-4-inch screws and right in the studs. I go, that's not going to happen now. But that's all that's happened since then. And then I think he came over and we looked there and we talked about everything. He says, okay, well, when you want to tear it down? And that's the snag with RG&E. He didn't know, I don't think he didn't know about RG&E. I think I maybe mentioned something to him, but that was only in the preliminary stages, you see what I'm saying? So I don't think he really knew how annoying this is.
Hopefully, Mr. Benedict can help
Sway
you
them
as
a
well.
little bit.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. We very much appreciate it.
All right. So June 1st is the big day?
June 1st, absolutely, 2021. Okay.
Carry on. Thanks, guys.
No further comments? Motion? Yes, Karen?
Motion.
Motion to,
Public hearing. So moved.
we have a
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Quickly moving to just one announcement. We have 5 employees who will be celebrating birthdays in the month of March. Dave Krenzer on the 11th, Victor Gaspar on the 16th, Carrie Miller on the 17th, Mike Van Aken on the 18th, and Babette Huber on the 22nd. Approval of meeting minutes of the 8th, February 8th Town Board meeting. Any questions, changes, deletions?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And at this time, we'll ask the clerk to please introduce manifest number 4.
Manifest number 4 for 2021 has been reviewed by the Victor Town Board with the following accounts charged: general townwide, general outside village, highway townwide, sanitary conveyance capital improvement project, the lighting districts of Fishers, Brookwood Meadows, High Point, Cobblestone, Coil Ridge, Rolling Meadows, Stone Lay, and Legacy at the Fairways, S&S Consolidated Sewer Fund, Trust and Agency. Total of the above-mentioned items, $256,076.09.
Thank you, Karen. As we do at every meeting, we try to identify expenditures that are in the $10,000 range or exceed. Start with payment number 1 to American Rock Salt for road salt. Number 2 is Springbrook Holding Company, LLC, for annual KVS financial software support. Next is payment to NOCO for winter mixed diesel fuel. Then we have Bluestone Creek Development, March rent, Parks and Rec. Harris Beach, January legal fees. Payment to Labello Associates for January engineering fees. Payment to Northern Highway Supply for wing and plow supplies and road sign materials. Payment to B&M International, March court rent facility. RG&E for utility services throughout the town. And final one is MVP Healthcare Employee and Retiree Health Insurance. Total of the above-mentioned expenditures is $219,758.02. Total town expenditures minus the previous mentioned expenditures equals $36,318.07. Board members, any questions on this evening's abstract? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve the payments thereof.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is on the agenda is privilege of the floor. Fred Cleverly?
Cleveland.
Fred, the floor is yours, sir.
My wife Jan,
Hello, Ann.
we just recently moved here in December from Newfane, New York. We built a house in the housing project on Valley Court. We own Lot 7. It's actually 562 Valley Court now. And there's a conservative easement that runs down through the property. And I would like to mow, just mow. I don't want to take out any shrubs. I don't want to take out any trees. All I want to do is keep the weeds down on a section of it. It has like a tree line that runs, it kind of divides that section I want to mow from the wooded area. And that's the section I'd like to mow.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you and welcome both of you to the community, but thank you for coming before the town board. I can tell you there's many challenges from residents who don't, they just disregard these conservation easements, and we've had from sheds to playgrounds to things installed that homeowners end up having to take down. And then, they start with one swipe with the mower and becomes 2 swipes and 3 swipes and 4 swipes. So I do appreciate, I want to thank you both for coming here.
When we first moved here, we came to across the hall and asked the people there if I could mow it, because I didn't get any, I didn't get any rules or anything on the easement. I have no idea what I can do, can't do, whatever. So we went over there, and the fella got the book out and looked it up and says, no, you can't mow it. He said, but you can go before the board and request that you be able to mow it. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, so you're a developer, Mr. Antonelli?
Yes.
On behalf of the entire development, he signs the conservation easements. And
Yeah, he told us when we purchased the lot that it had an easement on it,
okay,
that he believed that, he didn't specifically say I couldn't mow, but he says not allowed to build on it or do anything to it. But like I say, all I really want to do is mow it and keep the weeds down and leave all the shrubs and trees and everything else that's growing up in it. We like to watch the birds that come in there. We like to watch the deer that run through there. So I don't really want to change it. I just want to mow it. I have a map that Mr. Benedict sent me. He checkmarked all the yellow area where the easement is. I own to here. Most of this, I don't want to do anything to. It's just a small section. On this map, it actually shows different easements, so I'm a little confused, but this is the whole easement area that's shown on this map with the yellow check marks. But then there's a line that comes down here which says that's the town easement. And then it comes back over here with a federal wetland easement. The area I'm looking at mowing, these posts are here. They are on the lot. But I want to mow just a little bit, about 10 feet from this post, and kind of come up here and then mow this area here. And then leave all the rest of it for the woods.
How far off would that be from the wetland area? Do you have any idea?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. Because on the one map, it shows that it's all conservation easement. It doesn't show that little thing that it shows on this map. It just shows that this is all easement. So I don't know what the rules are accordingly from Mr. Benedict.
We're actually under the conservation easement, number 15, and again, I'll let you have my copy. There shall be no mowing, including but not limited to any mowing of wetlands within the conservation easement, maintaining a 75-foot buffer, and that's why I think council was asking that question, maintaining a 75-foot buffer from the wetland or any stream.
So my concern was, I think the area that you're identifying may be within that 75-foot buffer, so that wouldn't be anything that we'd be able to obviously grant any relief for because of it's too close to a federal wetland. I'm looking at the map that's attached to the back of the easement, so it's a little bit, it doesn't track exactly the way yours looks, but I think the area you're talking about may be within that 75-foot buffer zone.
Probably is, if that's what you're talking about, yeah. So I'm limited to stay on my side of the post then.
Right, you really shouldn't mow anything in the easement area at all, but certainly there's enough there. Even I think if we wanted to do anything on that area, within that 70, we can't. It's a federal wetland, so we'd be precluded from doing so. But certainly on the other side, I guess that would be for the board to determine. But the other issue is it becomes problematic from the board from a legal perspective to allow some homeowners to do things in the conservation easements and not others, or if it happened to be your neighbors two houses down were some that had put a structure in the conservation easement and the board told them that they have to take it away, for them now to allow you to do it raises potential challenges that the board's being arbitrary and capricious. So it's, from a legal perspective, my advice would be to unfortunately prohibit any activity within the conservation easement, because we've had to enforce others to not do certain and some similar activities in the conservation easement.
All right, I understand.
So I don't like to come out and say that I would I don't want you to make it look nice, but it's not a factor of just making it look nice. It's just the impact that it could potentially have on some of your neighbors and leading to some activities that would not be merely making it look nice, but taking advantage of that conservation area.
Mr. Cleverly, I echo Supervisor Maron's comments that I'm impressed that you checked it out before you bought the property, you knew there was an easement, you're down here, trying to get some relief, and it's become quite an issue for us in the town of Victor, frankly, and we've had issues with folks violating it, and they're being issued appearances and being fined because they violated it, and the purpose is obviously to maintain as much green space. Not only are we bound by federal law, but we also have local laws and codes that we've set up to try to maintain that green space, as we've restricted some codes in certain parts of the town. And so I appreciate you coming in and looking at that, and I think that's the biggest issue that we face as a board. We would be opening up a Pandora's box as soon as we start to let one person try to get into something like that and do that. And we've had people come before us, and I appreciate Aunt Nellie being on the up and up, telling you that there was an easement there, because a lot of people buy a piece of property and they, oh, don't worry, and the realtor is so anxious to sell the property, they'll say, oh, don't worry about it, you know, get through the closing. And then they find out that they can only mow half of what they thought they were going to be able to mow in their backyard. So
Right.
I do appreciate you trying to do it through proper channels, but I concur with Supervisor Marin and council.
Okay. I do have one other question, if I can. There's also a 20-foot wide storm and drainage easement that runs on the other side, my side of the easement. Can I do anything with that, or is that another thing that I gotta?
Council, you're on fire.
I am. I'd like to take a look at that the easement, but typically speaking, you can utilize that area so long as it doesn't adversely impact the drainage. So you couldn't erect a structure that would prohibit the free flow of water in that area. But is it a grassy area?
Well, I'm hoping it'll be, because it's right in the middle of my backyard.
If it's a grassy area that you're mowing and things of that nature, as long as it's outside of the conservation easement, that type of activity should be fine. It's simply anything that you would do. I wouldn't erect like a shed or something in that, a permanent structure can't go there because it could potentially impact the free flow of water. But making it, mowing it and doing, what you would do your lawn, that's all fine. That's all consistent with the easement.
I know they haven't done they've got the rough grade, they haven't done the final grade yet because the ground froze.
Gotcha.
So I really don't know what that's gonna look like on the final grade. Right now, there's on a little ways into my property and then off to the, what would that be, west or north? It's got a big mound of dirt there. Well, I can't mow that because it's way too high.
Right,
But
right.
I'm assuming that'll be gone.
It might be topsoil sitting there waiting to be used on other properties.
That's what I'm thinking. Because if I can level that out a little bit, then I can mow it.
Well, we just have to be careful with changing the topography and the grading if it's going to impact the drainage. If there's a certain when they finalize, once the weather breaks and they're actually able to finalize that area, it should be to a point where it should be mowable, if you will. It should be at a proper grade.
Okay.
It just may be pitched in a certain way just to allow the water to free flow off. So as long as you're keeping consistent with that, there shouldn't be any problems utilizing that area.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
If I could.
Yeah.
Your builder submitted a stormwater management plan for the whole development. He should be able to tell you what the end product should be and how it's going to be and what's going to happen to that mound of dirt. So I would definitely check with them to see what the final product is going to be, because they have to have approved the whole stormwater plan for that whole development, not just behind you, but for everything. So anytime there's that surge of water, should it ever happen, it's going to go in one direction, how they do it. So
Yeah,
He
it
should be
shows
able
that
to-
going all the way around the entire,
he should be able to fairly easily tell you what the end product should look like when
what
they
the
get
grade will be or what have you.
there. Yep.
Well, we thank you again for your honesty. Thank you for coming here. So from Newfane, I have one comment.
Yes.
Sauerkraut. It's a big sauerkraut. Must be great soil for sauerkraut.
We used to cut cabbage when we were younger.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
When, where we lived before, we lived along 18 Mile Creek, and on the other side is Volpel's farm, and they farm hundreds and hundreds of acres of cabbage. So they're processing all this cabbage on the other side of the creek. And
Yeah,
they would haul it in by the truck.
years ago, I was involved in the wine and liquor industry, and tractor trailers would bring in product from Kentucky. Then they go to Newfane, pick up cabbage, and they go back to Kentucky.
Who would think a little town of Newfane would be, that you
Oh.
would know about that?
I had one more point of clarification, and I just wanted to, you mentioned something about town easement, right-of-way town easements and stuff like that. There are a bunch of classifications of easements, and a town right-of-way easement basically is if the town had to go in and fix something. If they had to get on the property to get to a certain area, that's what that means. And the other thing is, I appreciate you coming down to see Kim and the codes folks, because they're very responsive, and they'll help you if there's ever a question about that, or easement, or anything along those lines. They're very good and very responsive, and they don't leave people hanging. So if you ever have any questions,
Yeah.
please utilize them. So-
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Moving next to public comments and concerns. Susie, do you have anyone with us? No. Okay. Moving to reports of town officials, we have your report submitted from the Planning and Building Department, Highway Department. Back to planning, if I may, real quick. Stormwater management. So far, Keith has had pretty good success with the letter that's been sent out. We have one meeting scheduled with
Early
Brian
March.
Ray's, Brian Ray's company, and we pushed back from one individual, and we've asked Kevin to put together a letter to send, and maybe, because right now Keith is just kind of going in circles with this individual, so maybe a letter from council will at least get him the ultimate meeting, because he refuses to even meet with us, so that's where we are. And then we have a report from, again, our highway superintendent, town engineer, IT. Any questions on those 4 reports?
No, just make a comment, in Casey's report, Mark. She's feeling at this point that, between permits and covered costs that were, that was a big concern in the past. But basically for the year 2020, with everything that was gone through, she says basically we've covered all our expenses, which is always a good thing. So that was a big concern in the past, and I think it's important to note that, we're moving in the right direction, let's call it that. So, very glad to see that, and she does a nice job with her reports, so thank you, and thank her.
Very good. Real quick, at the last meeting, I mentioned Dick's was opening in May. It's actually scheduled for April 9th, their grand opening. Last week, I was on a Zoom meeting with Senator Schumer, but Senator Schumer and Gillibrand have introduced the Direct Support for Communities Act, and this would be direct local aid. This bill would include $350 billion for local governments throughout the 50 states. 60% of assistance would go to states and 40% to localities, counties, cities, and towns. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that this bill will pass. Our understanding that there is support throughout the Senate, and there are some challenges still to face before it passes in the House. Vaccine distribution, again, as always, be patient. Weather storm patterns throughout our country last week have impacted the delivery of vaccines everywhere. Hopefully, if the vaccines arrive this week, we should be able to conclude all school districts and BOCES. This would include bus drivers and teachers. And then next week, we're hoping to get to the staff at Finger Lakes Community College, and then daycares throughout our county. So that's all I have. Board members, have any updates on any liaisons? Moving to resolutions. First resolution is a letter of credit regarding Piper Meadows, release number 8.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 2 is surplus equipment. Susie, thank you for putting this together. A lot of work.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. It's not a lot of money, Supervisor Marin, so I don't have a big deal about it. But, I can go as a resident once a year to the e-waste, which is part of our tax dollars at work, right? And we can dump it off. I was wondering, Karen or Jack, why can't we do that through a municipality? Is it different? You know what I'm saying? Could we hold on to it and then take it down? I guess I don't know the answer to that.
So, my question, I've been to e-waste, but I've been charged on television set. So you've been and not been charged?
Yeah, when the county does the free e-waste.
Oh, for those things?
Yeah, they do the once a year, they do the free e-waste. And, you know, you can take computers, laptops, TVs, all that stuff, and they do it once a year. They do it
Yeah.
for paints and oils, and they do it for e-waste.
Yeah.
They pay, don't they?
We don't, as
No,
residents.
but they pay. That's a charge, when Farmington does it and the county does, I think they pay, don't they? Isn't it a service that they do once or twice a year, or they don't get it?
No, so the county through Cornell Cooperative Extension puts this event on, and you have to sign up. Because
Yep.
I had, and you sign up, and
Yep.
I've done the paint thing as well.
Yep.
So, to your point, we could sit on this longer,
I don't, I mean,
hopes,
it's not
and
a big
hopes that
deal.
they,
I mean, Karen
and
doesn't know.
then we have to have a certain highway superintendent say, yeah, I'll haul it over there on a Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of, I mean, like, I was thinking, well, if I'm going, you know, I seem to go every year, but I always have a month. That's what I'm saying, I would do it.
Oh, great idea. You want supervise, you want
Is it,
me to do it?
is the pickup, is that just for residential? I don't know if they'd allow us as a,
That I don't know.
That's my question.
I think-
And they probably wouldn't.
Right.
They probably wouldn't, because of the volume. They probably wouldn't.
Like, I think, when we can find out from Pete Inglesby when they did it, because I got an appointment, did mine in Farmington, they have it set up with e-waste, and they have their trucks there, and their dumpsters, and the things that are controllable, and there's like 3 different sources, and
Yeah.
they have a tank. But it's a service that
That's
they do.
Farmington providing that service, so Farmington's paying their tax dollars
They're
to have
doing it
that
to have
done.
that once, but, yeah, so.
Because they don't have the recycling like we do. So they do that for their Farmington residents.
But that was a county one though, wasn't it?
Yes,
Last
I'm
time.
talking about a county.
Dave, yeah, Dave's right about, there's county,
So
they do the paint ones as well.
I have no issue getting rid of this $280, but, and Susie raises a very valid question, it would be interesting to know if we could go to the free county collection. The schools probably pay for e-waste. I would suspect they, when you're talking about that much of a volume, you know, they've got to have
Somebody
somebody.
pays safety clean, and somebody pays e-waste to come.
And I would suspect that we're probably under the same boat. I bet municipalities
so, too.
probably can't do it. Just a
No,
question.
I think that's a good point. As a follow-up, we will look into whether or not a municipality would be,
A lot of interesting
eligible.
questions tonight being asked. I just thought I'd ask another one. So.
But in the short term, it makes sense to get rid of it. Do you really want to sit on it for
Yeah,
how
exactly.
much
No.
longer? And
Well, Mark, how much do we pay Safety Clean to come pick up our waste oil and our solvents and all that? What's that
Sure.
cost us? What it is now. Will they come like monthly?
Oh, it's not monthly.
And we don't don't generate that much?
That's easy now.
Yeah,
We don't do it monthly.
okay.
I thought, you know, Karen or somebody was making a point because there were a lot of pictures, you know, about the